Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka Mono Bluetron, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. So today we're going to be checking out Big Paladoinks and Amish. Alright, that's the only one of these I'm going to make tonight. We're playing Crusadia. A lot of people are finding it difficult to generate hype about the new archetypes represented in Sci-Ho, which is understandable. Cyber Dragons are hard to get excited about when you're getting Gumblar looped every game, but I'm here to do my best selling you on a simple, consistent, and extremely powerful new group of link-climbing OTK monsters, presenting Crusadia. So here's the list, and GB weeby, there's a lot of new cards in here. Firstly, I'll give a little bit of background about the archetype. Secondly, I'll do a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do. And lastly, as always, the card by card. So firstly, for those of you that don't know, Crusadia is a new series of monsters that feature heavily in the ongoing World Legacy storyline. They all have the ability to special summon themselves to a link point any of your link monsters point to in defense position, then give their associated link monsters attack boosts and effects if they're located in the correct zones. The archetype is extremely new, of course, this is their first wave of support, but even though all of their effects are a hard once per turn, they already have more than enough monsters to facilitate an easy climb to their boss, Crusadia Equimax. The gameplay style they enable is OTK. Now, it's been a long time since we've had a dedicated OTK strategy in Yu-Gi-Oh! Skystar, Sky Striker, and Gouki are all either filled to the brim with advantage engines designed to overwhelm your opponent, or constantly trying to combo off on them. This deck does one thing and one thing only: hits hard. Their link monsters gain the attack of any monster they point to, both yours and your opponent's, so with careful placement of kaiju, you're easily able to assemble lethal combat steps on your second turn, either by using the piercing effect of Leonis or the damage doubling effect of Maximus, then attacking every single monster your opponent controls with their associated field spell. Since we aim to go second, we're playing our personally best hand trap lineup: 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 2 Infinite Impermeance, and 3 Ghost Ogre, whose lack of utility is more than made up for by the fact that we can easily win games with simplified board states. This is paired alongside a huge 5-card Kaiju package and an Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, which often enables absolutely ludicrous turn 2 lethals from laughably behind. When we're forced to play turn 1, Equimax is a pretty good guy to sit behind. He'll have a ton of attack and a quick effect card negation, and the archetype is so recurable you shouldn't have an issue working back up the chain. So with that, let's get into the card by card. First are Crusadia. Each one of these monsters has the ability, with a hard once per turn, to special summon itself to defense mode to a zone a link monster you control points to. We've got 3 Maximum, who can double the damage your Crusadia monster does, 3 copies of Draco, who adds a Crusadia from your graveyard to your hand, an incredibly powerful effect, but also useful for hiding Crusadia chains, 3 copies of Leonis, who gives your Crusadia piercing, 3 copies of Sacred Tree, who is importantly searchable off of reinforcement of the army and can be banished from your field or your graveyard to replace a Crusadia Destruction, and 3 Reclusia, who can destroy a Crusadia and another of your opponent's cards when it's special summoned. Finally, we have 2 World Legacy Crown, which I honestly should be probably playing at 3. This can be specialed like a Crusadia to a link point and can self-tribute to negate an extra deck monster's effect. For hand traps, we have 3 Ash and 3 Ogre, and for Kaiju, we've got 1 Thunder King, 1 Jizikuri, and 3 Gamciel. For spells, we've got 3 copies of Pot of Desires, 3 Monster Reborn, 2 World Legacies Inheritor and 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, 1 Reinforcement of the Army, 1 Crusadia Power, which makes a Crusadia monster unaffected by card effects, and 1 Crusadia Revival, which gives Crusadia's 500 attack and the ability to attack every monster your opponent controls. Finally, 2 Impermanence. In the extra, we've got Borreload, Trisbania, Nightmare's Unicorn, Phoenix, and Cerberus with Goblin, and then our Crusadia. 3 copies of Magius, who, when an effect monster is special summoned to his point, adds a Crusadia from our deck to our hand. 3 copies of Regulus, who, when an effect monster is special summoned to a zone he points to, adds a Crusadia spell or trap to the hand, hence the one-ofs, and 3 Equimax, who can negate card effects. So with that, let's jump into the games. Our first game is a little bit of a blink and you'll miss it. It's unfortunate, but it's not entirely unexpected. This deck is just so adept at assembling a turn 2 lethal that any opponent who aims to go second or puts up a subpar turn 1 board is unlikely to survive. Unfortunately for our opponent, they are playing Cyber Dark, Cyber Dragon, Blue Eyes, a very spicy brew that I don't think can do anything turn 1. They'll start by activating this copy of Terraforming to get a Dragoonity Ravine to their hand. They'll use its effect to send a copy of Horn to Graveyard and trigger the effect of Hertz, getting themselves a Cyber Dragon and passing it back with nigh but a Svai on board. We'll tribute it for a Gamciel, normal summon this copy of Reclusia to go into Magius, then we'll special summon this copy of Draco, returning Reclusia to our hand. Magius is going to add Sacred Tree. We'll go into Regulus, use the effect of Regulus when we special summon the Sacred Tree, then go into Equimax, added a copy of Maximus and a World Legacy Crown. And I haven't done the math, but I'm pretty sure... Oh my god. Our second match is up against Mayakashi, the new Zombie World archetype. Of course, they're playing all of the associated zombie good stuff, and this is actually a little concerning. You'll see the replay and understand what I'm talking about. First, they'll activate the effect of Mayakashi Revolt. That's going to add a copy of Yasha to their hand so they can get their Daki in Graveyard. They're going to use Shafu to bring back Daki and go into the Link Monster, bringing back Daki. Then go into their 5, bringing back Daki. Then their 7, bringing back Daki. Their 9, bringing back Daki. And their 11, bringing back Daki. Shouts out to OPT clauses. We still should be able to win. First, we'll special summon Thunder King, admittedly in the wrong zone. Then we'll use Magius and Sacred Tree to add a copy of Draco to our hand. We'll go into Regulus, special summon this copy of Draco so we can get ourselves what else but a copy of the field spell to our hand. We're going to activate it after going into Equimax and using World Legacy's Inheritor in order to put a Regulus at a link point so it can get over both Thunder King and the 3300 attack 11-star Synchro. That's going to trigger the effect of the 9-star Synchro, which destroys Equimax, but of course we have a Sacred Tree in Graveyard so we can prevent that from happening. Our opponent draws, and it's a Soul Charge. They're going to activate the effect of Shiranui's Solitaire, but we do have the Ash Blossom for it. Afterwards, they will fire off that Soul Charge, and oh boy, that's about the most frightening thing we could see, but I still feel pretty good about our chances. They're going to go ahead and use the effect of their 11, then Link Summon this copy of Nightmare Unicorn. Of course, our monster negates monster effects, so we are protected, and we should be able to win this turn, provided we draw any Paladoink, and what do you know, that's close enough. World Legacy Crown gives it the attack boost necessary to attack directly for 3100 points of damage. Alright, so it's time for Game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's on Gouki. Oh no. Okay, we made the choice to go second, and we're going to have to live with it. Unfortunately, with no hand traps, we may not be living with it for very long. Our opponent's going to start by normal summoning a Marauding Captain, then normal summoning a Marauding Captain, going into Invoker, getting themselves a Suprex, then ending on an Isolde. This is going to trigger the Grave effect of Suprex alongside the effect of Isolde, adding a Headbat and a Necro Gardener to hand. Isolde is going to go ahead and send this copy of Phoenix Blade, getting themselves a copy of Octostretch to board, so Headbat is live. They'll discard a copy of Rescorpio as well, so that's live off of the searched rematch that these two Goukis are adding. This rematch is going to bring back Suprex and Rescorpio, then go into Firewall Dragon, and now the fun begins. Oh boy. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is go into Mermaid. That's going to send this copy of Phoenix Blade to Graveyard, Hugbear to field, and Eebly from deck. Afterwards, they're going to go into Goblin and bets on what they draw. Drumroll, please. Vote in the comment section below. Armageddon Knight? Oh, geez. Okay, well, with Malicious and Eebly, I am completely sure we're going to see both Trigate Wizard and Gumblar, so we're going to have a hard time outing this extra link board. Let's see if we can do it. They're going to go into Cerberus, destroying our Eebly. I can't tell if this is some part of the combo I'm too big-brained for, or if it's just BM. They're going to work up the link chain. First is Unicorn, then the effect of Twist Cobra, somehow still not activated, is activated, ending on Gumblar, and then triggering the effect of Firewall to trigger the effect of Gumblar, discarding 2. We discard 2 redundant things, but keep an Inheritor in our hand. We're going to tribute over Trigate for a Thunder King. This triggers the effect of Gumblar, of course. We draw into something that might work. We'll attack over this copy of Linkaribo, breaking the extra link, then go into Magus, adding a copy of Recluse to our hand. We'll go into Regex, and they have Designator for our World Legacy's Inheritor target. So we can go into this copy of Equimax and set a copy of our Forbidden Chalice, but it's just not going to be enough as long as they link away this copy of Thunder King. They're going to use the effect of Phoenix to destroy our set card. We will chain it, but unfortunately that's going to be the end of the game. Alright, so it's time for Game 2, and I am not making that mistake again. I don't care how much we want to OTK, I am going first. Our hand is okay, it should be able to get it done. We're going to start by normal summoning this copy of Recluse. That's going to allow us to go into Magius. Then we're going to activate this reinforcement of the army for Sacred Tree. We'll special summon her, triggering the effect of Magius for Draco. Then go into Regulex, use the effect of Draco to special from hand and add Regulus back from Graveyard, and add a copy of Power to hand as well. We'll then go into Equimax and activate Pot of Desires now that we've got our combo out of the way, and ooh, a Crown and a Recluse. Alright, we'll pass it back to our opponent. The first thing they're going to do is special summon a Junk Forward, normal summon a copy of Gouki Suplex into a second Suplex, use the effect of Isolde and Suplex. We're going to negate the effect of Isolde with Equimax. Unfortunately, they can still send a copy of the sword from deck to Graveyard for cost, but can't do anything else and pass it back. And oh my god, I think we won! Well, first we're going to special summon a copy of Gamciel, then we're going to use the effect of Maximus, switch everything to attack mode, and ooh, that did it! So somehow we've weaseled our way into a Game 3, and oh, thank god. Not only have we drawn a hand trap, we've drawn the one hand trap that beats both Dolphin and Called by the Grave. We could maybe do this. Our opponent's going to start by activating Reinforcement of the Army, getting themselves a copy of Suprex. They normal summon an Armageddon Knight. We will Impermeancent. I do not want to see Malicious this game. They'll pass it back to us, and we draw Crown. We'll fire off this copy of Pot of Desires, finding an Ash and a Pot of Desires, classic. We'll go into a Magus Palladion, then a copy of Maximus. We'll go into a Regulex, searching, of course, Draco off of Magus to get ourselves this Maximus back to our hand. We'll get the field spell as well, go into an Echomax, put World Legacy World Crown at a link point, and attack for 4,500. We may have missed lethal, but we do have both the World Legacy Crown negation, the Echomax negation, an Infinite Impermeance, and an Ash Blossom. We're going to negate the Suprex, and we won! So we're back with a deck, and what the heck? This deck is actually pretty good. I'm shocked. There's a couple of things I want to discuss, however. 1. Going first, the deck is pretty weak to hand traps, Ghost Ogre specifically. It can interrupt the Link Climb in a way that is basically non-recoverable. Obviously, you should be hiding your activations as much as possible, and you should be trying to go second, but it does suck that your turn 1 setups aren't nearly as powerful as other meta dexes. 2. I know Mech Knight seems like an obvious fit for this strategy, but in my opinion you need so much redundancy in terms of different Crusadia names that there's only maybe 7 slots to play with. I'd much rather be playing hand traps in those slots than Mech Knights. I'm all about that simplified game state, baby. And 3, you kinda gotta be fearless with this deck. You don't have the luxury of time with regards to calling your opponent's bluffs. You've gotta hit as hard as possible, as fast as possible. Because if the game goes long, you are definitely not favored. All in all, this is one of the better decks we've played of late. I'd go so far as to recommend this if you're looking to sack some of your friends. It's got game against meta archetypes. In a format where rogue decks are few and hard to come by, it's nice to see a unique one able to occasionally play with the big boys. So that's that. This deck was a blast. It really feels good to play Doinks all day. Okay, that was the last one, actually. If you want to see me play the decks I make on this show on stream, I'm on twitch.tv/monobluetron every weekend, and if you have a certain idea for a deck or archetype, let me know in the comments section below, or on my Discord, and I will do my best to accommodate you. Otherwise, I'll see you Wednesday.